A player brings a teammate to a workout, +1. For years, coaches have talked about culture. Now they can measure it. He encourages a teammate after a tough rep, +1. A player stays after the workout to help rack the weights, +1. What gets recognized gets repeated. Speed matters, strength matters, but so does leadership. Now you can score both.
So, guys, I want to give a shout out to Cameron Condor in Chisholm, Oklahoma. This is the hat that I'm wearing that he gave me at the clinic. Tracy says I look like a goob in a cap. I think I do too. I used to wear caps all the time, like at North Forney. Stan, do you remember how you'd come up behind me and
Don't.
Stan, you would come up behind me and give me a little hand touch to the butt and go, looking good today, coach. But I don't know, maybe my head doesn't do the cap thing anymore. I don't know if it, I don't know, like if Kerry quit wearing a cap for 2 or 3 years, would it?
I think that's the first time I've ever seen you in a ball cap.
But in practice, I used to wear them some.
I thought you were a
visor.
Yeah, you were a visor guy.
Condor didn't give me a visor. Come on, Cam. Coach Hal is, so Lewis, when I went to Germany in 2022, I hadn't coached O-line in a decade, and I love O-line, like it's my thing. I love those kids. I love, and Coach Talley and all you guys, but like, I want to find 5 O-linemen and be like elephants on a parade and take your worst athletes on the field and have them move in unison. I think it's beautiful, but it just had been a long time, and Steve gave me the blueprint and went over there, and I just followed it. So you're going to learn some good stuff today, Lewis. 45 minutes of generic, really cool stuff, though, for a podcast. Welcome to the Arena Podcast. I'm your host, Randy Jackson, and this podcast is solely for coaches to use tomorrow. Steve Ford and I are going to talk O-line play today, things you should be thinking about for August or late July, whenever you meet with your guys. The last half of this will be for fast and wide coaches only. That's where we're going to get into the secret stuff. So, Steve,
sure.
Welcome. Tell us about you for the people who don't know who Steve Ford is.
I haven't coached O-line for a year, so I'll be a little rusty, but that's all right. Once you coach him for a while, you can always coach him. When I moved to Texas, I persuaded Coach Carey to give me a job. We came from Woodward, Oklahoma, and he gave me a D-tackles job. And that was awesome. I learned a whole bunch, and he was good enough to, when his O-line coach moved on, he moved me over to that side of the ball and was there for several years, learned a lot from him and his guys. And then Coach Jackson hired me at North Forney, and that was awesome, learned a lot. Then worked for Luster and ended up in Rockwall. And now I'm at a middle school and teaching PE, loving every minute of it.
Steve, how many years have you coached?
5.
20-something, so long enough. Coach Carey has been on the podcast. Coach Carey's the head coach at Tomball Memorial. And Joe, I think you and I are like-type people. I think you guys listening to this know you've got some people that if they suggested you hire someone, you're just going to take their word for it. And Coach Carey and I are kind of like, I think Coach Carey could tell me to hire someone's last name Bin Laden, and I'd probably do it just on his recommendation because I know he wants the same type person I want. So, Joe Dale, tell us something about Steve that he's too humble to tell us.
Oh, man. Like Steve said, he was with us at Crandall for 4 years.
I think 4.
Yeah. And man, just knowing Steve as a husband and a father, just seeing him with Erica and his kids, that was awesome to see. You see what kind of man he is. He was a remarkable coach. And, Randy, we've been friends for a while and I like you a lot, but you stole him from me, kind of pissed me off. But no, he was incredible, man. I mean, he just brings great energy to your office. You have those guys in your coach's office that just make it go. And Steve is one of those guys. His personality, his demeanor, he got along with everybody. You never heard him complain about anything. He was well ahead of the game with the no BCD thing, right? Steve, you just never heard a negative thing come out of his mouth. He always enjoyed showing up and being at work and being in the office and being around kids and coaching football. And You just never had to worry about what was going on down there with the offensive line because you knew it was being handled. You knew it was being coached right. And then on Friday night, the results spoke for themselves.
Here's what I love that you said, Coach Carey, because I was trying to figure out how to put a finger on it, but everybody loves Steve. Steve was the O-line coach when I started Fast and Wide and has given to the community. And I'm thinking, man, everybody, people just have that personality where everybody likes a few people. I don't have that personality. Stan, you have that personality as well. But so I was thinking about this. Here's what you said. Steve is just positive. He doesn't. I remember, y'all, so we would start practice at 6:45 a.m. and we had a long hallway, and I would be in the hallway greeting kids with on a live microphone telling jokes. Some coaches would be in the coach's office and they could see me in the hallway. If your head coach is in the hallway, don't be in the freaking coach's office. That's dumb. Steve was never in the coach's office. Steve was at the equipment room. Stan, you were with him. Y'all just always had a smile on your face. And that's a great point, Coach Carey, is just positive. And I can remember interviewing Steve and him telling me, hey, Coach, we're going to ID the front. 4-1 box, 3-2 box. I remember saying, Coach, we're going to go so fast, I don't think we can. And Steve was like, well, maybe, whatever. And then I remember him saying they were going to make ace and deuce calls. And I said, Coach, listen, we're going to go so fast. But here's the thing. If you can do it, go for it. And to this day, Steve, did we ID the box?
We did. And then we slowly really didn't have to.
Okay.
The kids picked it up.
Okay. Let's do this. We've thrown flowers on Steve long enough. So, guys, this is going to be a podcast that if you're not an O-line coach, you're going to get something out of it. This podcast is for head coaches. So if you're a head coach and you don't understand O-line, then you need to learn it. All right, Steve. So let's do this. I love scenarios. We're going to start fall camp tomorrow. But in the states where it's illegal to have a meeting the day before, tell us, how would you start this meeting with your O-line? What are 2 or 3 things you're going to emphasize in this meeting the day before fall camp?
That's really good. The biggest thing, because I remember as a player, the sense of the unknown, right? Like what's coming tomorrow, the first day of camp, what are we doing? So I have given them a template of how the week's going to go, regardless of it being a big practice for each day or the individual time. Just break it down a little bit to give them some comfort of what's coming ahead. Explain to them, I've changed over. I don't know. I'm probably getting pretty soft. That's what Stan would tell you. Make sure they understood we're in this together. I'm the coach, you're the player, but if we can't go together, then tomorrow's not going to be a good day. Something to give them some comfort about the day. Yeah, it's going to be hard work, but we're going to be in it together.
Okay, I got goosebumps. We're going to be in this together because the O-line is the unit that just gets dumped on. And very few times when someone scores a touchdown do people say, yay, O-line. So remember this. Make sure they know you have their back. And the O-line, Steve, they knew Steve and Coach Stan, they had their back. So I love that. I'm going to make sure they understand what the first drill is going to be. We're going to go through and they're going to go to bed at night and say, here's what we're doing tomorrow. And so what would that first drill be, Steve?
Oh, man. It's always boards with me. That's a blanket answer from every O-line guy I know. But you can make the boards work for almost everything. Let me backtrack real quick. I'd show a video. I'm a big NASCAR guy, but I have a video of the only 5 guys can be over the wall in a pit crew and work. There's 5 linemen. So I would show them a clip of 5 guys going over the wall in a perfect pit stop. Car goes off, they're breaking records, fast pit stop. Then I would show them another one that was an epic failure. One guy gets ran over, the tire flies across the track. So we got to be that first crew every time. Let the other teams be that second crew. So that was also one going in that first day. What was the question?
I love that. So coaches could easily find these clips, right, on TikTok or something like that. So
yeah,
I did not know only 5 guys could go over there. I didn't know you were NASCAR. Being from Oklahoma, I really am a little ashamed or whatever that I didn't really put two and two together.
Coach,
But,
I keep it in the
yeah.
down low.
Yeah. Before I forget to say this, Steve sells coffee. It's called Coach's Coffee. What's the website, Steve?
CoachesCoffeeCo.com. No apostrophe and no ES. It's just coaches.
Coach's Coffee
Co.com.
and it's great coffee. I've had it before. When I drink Coach's Coffee, I close my eyes and I feel like I'm on a unicorn with Juan Valdez.
Mm.
Stan, you know what I was trying to do, Stan, but I failed miserably. But okay, what are some absolute non-negotiables that they must be able to do?
You want to get into technique, right? Day one. But if you don't know what the technique is for, then it doesn't really work. What you're working on that first week, they have to know the whys. And that's what got me to be a better coach is why are we doing this? Well, I'm going to tell you why we're doing it before we do it. That's why fast and wide is amazing because we're going to hang our hats on inside zone and power. So everything I'm going to do, whether it be 5 drills or whatever, is going to be incorporated in the footwork on inside zone, the footwork on power, the pulling, the steps, the whole ball of wax. But I'm going to start with the basics, obviously boards and footwork. And then we're going to graduate into singles, white blocks, double teams, because I always slowly drift to double teams. And I know I'm going too fast, but I think everybody can white block, right? Your smallest lineman can get in somebody's way. But if you don't work the art of a double team and spend a lot of drill time on that, I don't think you're going to get to where you want to be.
Let's pretend that someone's listening to this who we're going to have some non-fast and wide people listen to this, but I remember being a young coach and being frustrated that there weren't books out there that explain the difference in cover 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, why they're called that, what people are doing. Once you get into coaching for a while, it's like a no-brainer and you get it. But for the young coach out there who's listening to this, or for a head coach, why should he expect to go to it? Why should board drills be done? Tell us why are board drills great?
Board drills are great because it automatically gets your feet where they're supposed to be to a degree, right? And you can do it with a 2x8. It doesn't need to be anything special. You don't have to have money to do board drills. But boards, like you can use boards from your stance. You can use boards second level going to a linebacker. You can use boards for pulling. You can use boards working tackle pull on dart. I incorporate boards in every drill that I can because I'll forget to focus on footwork as far as where are we.
Mm-hmm.
And that way I can be working what needs to be worked and the boards are doing their job without me having to coach a lot of that. And I think that's very important.
I used to tell my guys, if I was going to punch you in the face, but my feet were together, I couldn't punch you very hard. But if my feet are wider than these boards, I would have some power.
Right.
Coaches, if you're listening to this, boards are amazing because your feet, I love axioms. I don't care if you're a receiver or a running back picking up a blitz, your feet should be wider than the defenders. Are you with me on that, Steve? Is that something that applies to O-line?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You can get so wide that you can't take your steps. It's better to be wider than not wide.
I don't think we ever fight their feet getting too wide. So you can tell all your offensive players, your feet must be wider than the defenders and your helmet must be lower than the defenders. I'm going to give you some axioms like that, just some things to make your brain work. Steve, in 96, I was the tight end wingback coach at West Mesquite, and we threw the ball 4 times a game. So we had 3 O-line coaches, and we were dang good. We used boards, and we ran the boards. In college, when I was a tight end, late 80s, we ran the boards, and we came off flat-backed, and we were coming off like we were shot out of a cannon. Then maybe a decade later, I'm watching someone at a clinic talk about duck steps and speed skater where you're inside your foot is. I just remember it blew my mind. And it sort of made me mad. My brain's already been programmed to run the board. What is this sorcery y'all are talking about? So let's talk about, why is duck step, inside arch, why is that better than being on the balls of your feet and running, coming off the ball?
Cleats in the ground, and I know every coach on here, this is like religion. So if your toes are out, right, and your cleats are in the ground, it's pounding that ground, and you always want to be on your insteps. If you get up on your toes, now you've lost the boards again. And I also think with your toes out and your arches of your feet and your cleats in the ground, you can change direction really quick. The minute my feet get like this and my stance comes in, I can't change direction. If my feet are staggered out in that duck position and I'm taking those choppy steps, I can go left, right. I can change direction quicker. You get up on the ball of your feet and you get too high with your steps.
So in 2005, I took a lineman to a camp at Louisiana Monroe. He signed with ULM. I remember them telling him at the college level, there really is no such thing as movement. You're not going to move a Division I player against his will. What you're going to do is cover him up and stay in the middle of him and fight to a tie. And if all linemen are in the middle of them, fighting to a tie and maybe getting just a little movement, and the running back has a hole 18 inches, we've done our job, and it's his job to get through those holes. Again, that was 20 years ago. Does that still apply, Steve? Do you tell your linemen on double teams? You and I are going to talk double teams because we both love them, but a single block, is it more about movement or is it more about covering them up and staying in the middle of them?
I think it's covering up, stay in the middle. But if you coach that, you're not going to get out of that kid what you need.
Yes. If you tell them what I just said, you're not any movement. Yeah.
Right.
That's got to be, that's like honorable mention all district. We got to keep that a secret.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you got to coach movement, especially in 6A Texas high school football. There's a lot of times where if you can stalemate, that's a victory. But you're coaching movement.
Okay, here's another epiphany I had. I'm in a Tony Franklin clinic in about 2009, and he talks about sucking up to the defender and putting your boys on his boys. Guys, if you're going to coach O-line, you got to use little terms like this to keep them interested. So I used to come up with all kind of terms. Guys, you got to put your twig and berries on his twig and berries. So it's really not flat back. Is that correct? In pass blocking, I want to bench him and separate from him. But in run blocking, I want to curl him and put my boys on his boys. And that's what I coached in Germany. Was that correct?
I think so. I never used the twig and berries deal, but yeah, the curl.
Your middle school kids will love that.
They will. But
they'll tell their parents, but you'll be okay.
I'll get called in, but that's fine. That curl and lift, the curl you talk about, love it. And then the lift, I remember, and Coach Carey knows this, with Branson Bragg at Crandall, he used to have so many coaches come through watching that kid. And one of the coaches talked about cracking a walnut in between your cheeks. And so that thought was, you're curling and you're lifting and you're bringing those hips and squeezing that butt, pounding that ground. And that creates that movement, or at least that stalemate. But yeah, it's basically getting parts on parts, but you got to lift. And that brings them snug up against you.
So just a review, fellas, and listen, this is a coach's office conversation. This will be way better if you interrupt. I know everyone on here, so feel free to just make this a dialogue, okay? But let's review. If I'm starting tomorrow at Hot Springs High School in New Mexico, I'm going to use boards so my feet will be wide. I'm going to make sure that I'm pounding the ground and keeping my cleats in the ground. I don't want to be on the balls of my feet running. And then I'm going to come off. And I used to say that, what was the term that I said? You got to beat them to the punch. You got to beat them to the punch. I think you should say that over and over again. You got to beat them to the punch, which means you got to come off the ball first. And then if I'm using boards, Steve, correct me, but I'd put a defender in the middle of the board. So here's how I would do it first. I would do what I call fit drill, and they'd be fit up in there, and we're not in a stance. We're just already in there, and I've got him right here. And by the way, guys, you only get called for holding if you're not covering them up. If you've got him in your cylinder and your feet are wider than his, you're probably not going to get called for holding. So I'm going to fit him up and I'm going to drive the board, right? And then when you blow a whistle, Steve, at the end of the board, are you going to blow a whistle and are they going to bench them off or anything like that? How would you end that drill?
I've done it all kinds of ways where you benched them, try to not throw them backwards. And I don't know. Sometimes I think that's not productive because at what point in a play
I know.
do you want to lose that, right? And so I kind of went away from that, but always curl and lift, pound the ground, feet wide, duck walk. And then I always tell them mask under mask. That I constant mask under. So then when you watch film and your mask is under theirs, you'll be winning. And when you watch film and your mask is above theirs, you'll be losing.
Which is
Curl and
something you
lift.
can grade. So I think,
Absolutely.
guys, if you're grading O-line, are your feet wider than theirs? And is your mask under his mask? So, Steve, seriously, this just went through my brain. Here's how I would end the board drill. I would blow the whistle, and then I would make sure they dropped and got in the perfect position. Because some of them are going to be in the perfect position, but, Blake might not be. And he might be a little high, his feet not. When you blow the whistle, make them get perfect. Throwing this out there, Steve, but I think that's how I would do it. My first board drill would be fit. My second board drill would be he'd be in the middle of the board, somewhat in a stance. I'm going to tell him to give ground grudgingly, and then I'm going to take a step, and here's how I would do it. I call my inside zone outie. So I'm going to go outie, which means they would shade left, step with their right foot, but they're going to come off now and execute the block, and it's going to look just like the fit drill at the end of the board. Are you smelling what I'm stepping in, Steve? You like it?
Yes, sir. If you have time, work every step on a board without defenders. If you have time or pre-practice, and then start fitted up just like you and then progress, work backwards. The other cool thing I learned from somebody was end the drill with the whistle, never start a drill with the whistle because the play never starts with the whistle.
Yes.
Start it how your team starts, a clap or whatever. Get that in the brain.
One time, there's a lot of reasons some of my old assistant coaches didn't love me, but I did not want any drill to end without a whistle. I don't understand that. In football, it ends in a whistle, so shouldn't you train them like quarter horses? If I wanted to go get frustrated, I'd go to some defensive practice today. I've been retired for a few years. If I went to defensive practice, when does a kid know when to stop tackling? Y'all have all seen this. Coach Carey, Coach Stan, I don't know how it is at Ennis, but if someone's doing a tackling drill and a kid goes just long enough till he thinks he's long enough and he stops, that pisses me off. Why are you stopping if you don't hear a whistle? Okay, Steve, so pre-practice, we're going to do board drills on air, but were you one of the guys who used the medicine balls where someone was holding a medicine ball and my hands had to get in here close? Was that?
I do that on the boards early.
That's what I'm saying. Is that pre-practice for you or regular practice?
It'd be regular.
Okay.
But I can't remember his name. He was a line coach at Oregon. Now he's at Miami with Cristobal. But that med ball creates that double under. We're calling it curl and lift.
Yeah.
Double med balls are magic.
Yeah, I'm just giving people points, guys. If you want to go coach O-line, your thumb should be up. You have power when your thumbs are up, right? Steve's coached me on this. If I'm hitting that med ball or if I'm hitting a human, my thumbs are up, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I would say up to out.
Up to out. Okay.
But for the med ball.
All right. Love it. All right. So if you're a young coach, and you can only major in 3 things on O-line, if you get 3 things, and by the way, you shouldn't coach too many things with your O-line, but a great coach brings so much juice and says stuff like twig and berries that you can do these drills all season and they still are glad to be around you. But so what should we major in? If you were going to go watch Kevin Holland coach O-line, should he major in stance, first step, eyes, hands? Give us 3 things that Kevin should major in.
Well, I think you got to get brass tacks on a lot of things, but you got to have good eyes. You got to coach eyes until they see things. You got to
Okay,
coach.
time out. How do you coach? Where do you stand? Y'all, this is coaching 101, right? Most podcasts don't talk about stuff like this. Where do you stand to coach eyes?
You got to be on the backside of the defense. In your
Yes,
drill,
you got to
see
be a
their eyes.
linebacker. If
Sometimes
you're looking
you
at an
gotta be
O-line's
behind him,
butt, you're wrong as a coach.
Yeah. Eyes
Okay,
are so important.
so are you
Sorry.
talking about pre-snap? Pre-snap. Okay, Steve, if you're not standing where the linebackers are, Steve, have you ever coached a tackle that looked at the 3 technique every time he's going to down block? Yeah.
You'll never see it if you don't watch,
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you say eyes, is that what you're talking about? Should they be looking straight ahead, but when the ball snapped, their eyes are correct? Is that what you mean?
I think eyes is pre-snap because we don't always have time to call a box, but we do have time to see it.
Yep.
So if you see the box, then you can make your quick call. But if your eyes, I lose my mind when linemen get tired, get up to the ball, they're hanging their heads, and here we go, snap. Nobody knows. You can't tell me what the box was. You don't know who you're blocking or who you're working to.
Yeah.
So you got to have eyes all the time. You can't get tired. And then eyes throughout the play. Eyes second level, especially double teams, blitzes. You got to see it all. And I know back in the day, we were flat back, run your feet. You didn't have to see. I get all that, but not today.
Not today.
You get too many boxes in
if
one
you're
night.
coaching, let's go guard center, and we're zone blocking to the left. All right, so us two got those two. You should have 3 defenders. You should have a D lineman and 2 backers. That way you can see if they're doing the right thing, if their eyes are right. You know what I'm saying, Steve? And maybe you start off just 2 on 2, but how do you coach eyes as far as what I'm saying? Do you do it with where there's an extra person and you're running blitzes and you hope they don't pick it up if they're not supposed to?
If you're working run game and you're working a double team, I would go 2-on-1, 2v1. I would be the second defender as the backer. Looking at their eyes, you can, if you don't have anything, you can hold up the number 2, you can hold up the number 1. So as they're fitting up a double team, you're backing up with them doing this. They're saying 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2. So their eyes are on you the entire time as the linebacker. Whatever you want to hold up, a red card, a green card, but they have to be able to see who they're working to and what is he doing.
Yeah.
So train eyes, train eyes, train eyes. Picking up blitzes is a different way to train eyes. Now we're all got to communicate, right?
Most of you are going to be some form of slide in your pass protection. You talk about me kind of losing my mind is when I got a guy who's supposed to be sliding left and working left, but something's going on and he has undisciplined eyes and he looks right. That's the magic of being an O-line coach. We all know O-linemen are great kids. I think it was Harbaugh who said this. O-line is the only position in all sports where you're not allowed to touch the ball. If anyone on here knows another one, but it ain't many, but O-line, they're not even allowed to touch the ball, and their only job is to serve. So I probably jumped ahead there. We're going to get into, after this, how to make these kids feel special and how you grade them. But so eyes, I think we're hammering some good stuff here. What's the next one after eyes?
Eyes, communication, footwork.
Okay. So communication is, if we're playing a 4 down and there's a 4-3, then we're going to say 4-1 box, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
And
Communicate when the backer runs through and KO's your running back 3 yards deep. You either didn't see it or you didn't communicate it, or you're just not very good and you didn't block it.
So communication for you, is it more pre-snap or post-snap?
Communication's pre-snap for me.
Okay.
You can make those calls like me, but I really don't. I think your eyes fix all that.
Okay. There's a loop in the passing game. You're not losing your mind if we're not yelling switch. We'd like to. We want to. But you're coaching before the play is snapped. A guard tackle combo is a deuce, right?
Right.
So before the ball is snapped, you want somebody to say deuce.
I do.
Yeah.
And sometimes those guys will have their own thing. They'll tap each other.
Yeah.
if you want to go fast.
We don't care if they say taco, right? As long as they're communicating and we know what's going on. Okay,
Right.
so when you're coaching, we're going to get a bunch of reps if a kid misses a communication. Okay, let's go through this because this is the key to coaching to me. Holland's the center, Lewis is a guard, Stan's a guard, I'm a tackle, and you send a blitz at us, but I don't say deuce. I should tell Stan, man, we ought to be working together. And that play happens. How are you coaching us quickly? Coaches, you can't take 3 minutes to fix something because we need to be getting a bunch of reps. How can you quickly tell Randy to say deuce to Stan? And because Stan used to be in charge of 20,000 employees, he expects a call. So how are you fixing that quickly?
I would look at Stan, Kevin, and whomever else and say, "What'd you hear?" And they would say nothing. And then I would look at, I hate to use you because
No, coach, it's fine.
I would look at Randy and say, "Did you say anything?" "No." "We'll say it next time." So
Okay.
they can hear it. Let's go.
Let's go. We're getting reps. So how many reps are you going to get in 5 minutes?
You better get a lot. It's so hard, coach. 'Cause one of my downfalls is I want to see everything being worked. When I had Coach Anderson, I could say, "You watch that. If you
Yes.
don't have that guy, then you got to work this pod, come back, and work this other pod, come back so you can see it all. Eventually work both pods, but you should get 8 to 10. And I'm thinking double teams with a little coaching involved.
Yeah.
I'm guilty because I'll work the ones 85% of the time. I should work the twos in more, but
If I want to keep having this conversation till I'm 100, because this just fires me up so much, you should have short phrases to coach kids so you can go faster. I remember working with an elderly coach one time, and he would talk in complete paragraphs. Use headlines. Don't use sentences. Coach in headlines. Steve, give us some just little short phrases you would say where you don't have to use a paragraph.
I'm trying to think of some of those. We all have a lot, and they kind of change. But for instance, when we were at North Forney, you were already gone. We got into that district with Rockwall and Heath, and they run that defense that I call a bastard defense, but it's
The three
time.
safety.
Yeah,
Right?
it's a 3 safety hybrid from the 3-3. It's like
Guys, if
you
you're
kick
not
an
running the
ant
three
pile.
safety, you should be considering the three safety. It's the best defense out there. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
As an O-line, it's like you kicked an ant pile, and they're coming from everywhere, right? So we named that blitz Jacket Blitz for Rockwall
Okay.
Jackson, or
Yeah.
for both of them, and that became the name of it. So if my tackle's seeing all this unfold, he didn't have time to say, "Okay, I got him." It's just jacket, jacket, jacket. Now everybody knows I'm
Mhm.
responsible for this gap, not a guy, right? And later at Rockwall, they call it a water blitz, but you're just water's flowing through the gaps, and you're responsible for your gap more than a guy.
Yeah.
But you can say that in one word.
One word. Here's a great example. Go back to Randy not making a deuce call. You don't need to say, "Hey, Randy, you didn't make a deuce call. We have to have a deuce call because Stan needs to know. And now this linebacker came free and our running back got hit 3 yards deep." And no, just say, "Randy, deuce."
Yeah.
That's all you got to say. We got to
Yeah.
get reps. Okay, so
Correct in film.
number one, what was your number one of the three?
Eyes,
Eyes, communication, and then what's the last one?
my footwork,
Footwork. So how are we coaching footwork? I mean, boards, I guess. And
boards.
if I live to be 100, my line coach in college was JB Grimes. And if you took anything other than 6 inches, you were going to get hit in the head with his cap.
Yeah.
6 inches, the right step.
A lot of coaches are going to running more now. They don't really coach a 6-inch step. I still believe in a 6 to 8-inch step, but you can boil your steps down to, I always go back to double teams. If I'm covered in a 3 technique, then I got to have that footwork. If I'm covered head up, I got to have that footwork. If I'm covered on my backside shoulder with help, I got to have that footwork. And so guys will just learn it.
Yes.
I don't need to go elaborate. I got this footwork for this technique, this for this, this for this. And we'll work that and work that and work that.
Yeah, and that's what you told me to do in Germany. To truth be told, y'all, we didn't ID fronts, We just knew are you covered play side or backside?
Hmm.
If you're covered backside, you're going to do this. If you're covered play side, or if you're helping for you fast and wide guys, we don't really have to talk coverages with the quarterback. We're throwing to this guy, and our receiver doesn't really have to know coverages. He's just going to react to the corner. You can make football really simple. Am I covered play side, covered backside?
And head up.
Head up.
Head up, like head up twos. If you're a guard, what's he going to do? He's going to slant.
Yeah.
So my footwork with the guy I'm working with has to fit whatever way he goes. As a coach, you have to teach footwork according to what you are doing. And then you have to be able to answer the why, because your kids are going to ask you.
So when you're doing board drills, let's go back to board drills. If you're listening to this and you need to coach O-line, board drill needs to be one of those things you take from. But if you're coaching board drills, it's been 4 years since I've done it, but you would say covered play side or covered backside, right? Tell us how you coach footwork on board. Would you give a play or would you give how they're covered?
I would just tell them, okay, we're working inside zone, and that's it. So instead of even getting into all that, you could be talking about where this is a zone step. So it's 6 inches flat and climb. So now this is a covered step. Now it's the old pick it up, put it down, 0 step. And as they're taking those steps, you can say, why are we taking the 0 step? And they'll tell you, because I'm covered on my backside shoulder. So you can coach so fast and hit these little quizzes as you're going. Your kids, they'll just pick it up.
Ask them, fellas. As a young coach, I told kids too many things. It's like a job interview. If you're interviewing a coach and you do all the talking, you're an idiot. So Steve just said this. Ask them, why are we doing this? And quiz them. Okay, Steve, this was not on my list that I sent you before. Because, by the way, y'all, this podcast is so professional. I sent Steve these questions 2 hours before. J.B. Grimes, legend O-line coach. He was my coach in college. And I heard him say at a clinic, if you ever turn your shoulders as an O-lineman, you're wrong. And, boy, that was kind of a, ooh, really? Like you never turn your shoulders? What did he mean by that, Steve?
That's probably the best piece of advice you just got in this whole talk. Because the only time you're going to turn your shoulders is on an open pole, like you're kicking out in counter. So if you're on counter, you're going to open up your shoulders. If not, I mean, think of a time, maybe when you get beat as a tackle, pass setting, and he gets past your hips, you got to turn and go. But square shoulders, coach, I'm going away from a skip pole and going to a shuffle pole. I know your shoulders stay square on either of those poles, but when you get up second level, I feel like I used to coach, fit that guy up and turn with him and take him. Well, I kept that shuffle pole where you stay square still. So now you're teaching square to the line of scrimmage with your shoulders in almost everything you do. So now you just took 2 pages and put it into 1 sentence that you got to coach.
If you ever turn your shoulders, you're wrong.
Be wrong on that one.
We got to make these kids feel special. Because we all know who I'm talking about. We got kids that are going to be volunteer firemen, great kids. We love them. But no one else is making them feel special.
In attack.
So what, Steve, at North Forney, I used to say, let's grade about 10 plays of practice on Monday and Tuesday. Stan, I'd love to hear your take on this too, man. So Stan, get ready. I'm going to ask you about pipe wrenches or H's in a second. What did you grade, Steve, in practice? And I know coaches are listening to this like, I don't have time for that. How long did it take you, and what did you grade?
We graded 3 things. 1, did you know what you were doing? 2, did you get it done? And the technique. So it would be plus, 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 minus, plus, minus, minus, minus. You could do the right technique, but you didn't know what you were doing.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just 3. We did it over lunch. It was fast.
Did you grade any effort? I'll keep
I'm
up
sorry.
with
We did great effort. Lows.
Okay, because I was really fixing to go back into your files and add something.
You should. Effort was like its own category.
I mean,
Effort was a big deal.
Luster probably quit making. Luster didn't care about effort. That's probably what it was.
Effort was big because the next morning you would have us do loaf circles.
Yes.
And if you didn't know your effort, kids, you were in trouble.
Yeah, Coach, we were going to, if you want to practice harder than anybody else, take 10 plays of practice, random, and keep up with loafs and do loaf circles. which means you can do the whole offense, you can do your whatever, you can do your position groups. Stan, tell us, what did you grade with H's and tight ends and stuff?
Yeah, it was the same thing, and I got this from Steve. It's effort, assignment, and technique. Call it EAT. So effort,
Okay.
assignment, and technique.
Stan, what would be one of your things, someone coaching H's? What would be on your Mount Rushmore that they should be doing?
Oh man, you got to be able to white block.
Steve mentioned that earlier. What is a white block?
It's a man block. Taking that guy and putting him where he doesn't want to go. So especially for an H, especially if you're running power, you're going to dig that D end out. So you got to make sure you have, we call it Porsche steps back in the day, that inside gap step, and you got to get to that guy's inside, that D end's inside shoulder, and work your hips and dig him out and create that gap.
So a white block, this is Art Briles terminology. It was like you're going to white him out. Think guard with a 3 technique. I'm just going to angle drive him. When I learned this, it just changed my life because I remember thinking, wow, I don't understand if you're zoning a 3 technique. What if he goes inside? And okay, Stan, so I'm giving Steve a rest.
Thank you, Stan.
Steve's coaching quarterbacks now, so he probably needs a rest. Man, this is gold, Stan. I'm a piper. I'm an H, and I need to coach kicking out on the D end on power.
Yeah.
Most people listening to this are going to run power. Give us your coaching points on kicking out on power.
Yeah, and like I say, we called it Porsche step. So if we have him on the right side, it all depends on alignment. We used to align our H's right behind the tackle, and we'd just say replace his feet. That tackle is going to block down. So we're going to take our left step and replace the tackle's feet. And we're going to engage with that defensive end, and we're going to attempt to turn his shoulders, and we're going to get inside of him between the ball and that defender, and we're going to try to turn him out so we can create that gap for our puller.
So, Stan, if you saw me on film and I'm the right H, so we're running power right. If I step with my left foot, correct?
Yeah, step with your left foot.
My first step is the ball foot. It's the left foot. And is it more important for me to go vertical or banana path and kick out that end?
If we're running power, I want to go vertical. Replace that tackle's feet. Where his left foot is, that's where my left foot needs to go. Cut that gap off. Don't let that defender into that B gap.
And y'all, this never happens, but we used to tell our guy, you ought to be vertical. And if that D end for some reason drops out into pass coverage or something crazy, you don't even block him. Like, you're going to be vertical.
Yep.
And this is another JB Grimes. But if your if your H ever says, Coach, I can't dig him out, don't take no for an answer. No, that's not.
If he says he can't do it, get another pipe wrench.
Okay, Stan, we're going to come across on split zone.
Yep.
I used to say chase the hip of the tackle.
Yep.
Is that still something you like?
Yeah. So we're going to chase the hip. We'll also use the term, and Steve gave this to me, dirty shirt. You know, we're going to be so tight to the line of scrimmage. We're going to work so downhill from our position in a sniffer. We're going to chase the hip, and we're going to get their crap on us.
Nice.
That's what dirty shirt is. We're going to work downhill. We're going to dig that guy out. We're going to get to his inside. So if I'm on the right side, we're going to aim left, hit left. We're aiming for his inside left shoulder.
So, guys, it's not hard to coach H's, but you got to get this stuff done because your offense, if you're an offense with an H, it doesn't work. Like, you can't just farm that out. So if I'm coming across, if I'm lined up on the left and I'm coming across to kick the right D end, I'm going to chase the hip of that right tackle, which means I am getting up into the line. Steve and Stan, please chime in on some of this stuff, but how are we making these guys feel special? They know I've got their back. We're in this together. So tell me ways that you make them lay in traffic for you, because they do.
Talking to me or Stan? I don't know, Coach. If you love coaching and you love kids, and you're an O-line coach, but you're coaching the kids no one else wants to coach because they send them to the O-line because they can't run and they can't do anything. And when you love those kids, it's a different type of deal. Walk off the field of practice with them. As you're walking from the practice field to the locker room, conversate about things that didn't take place on the practice field. Talk about whatever, talk about class, whatever. Get to know, like if I'm a coach and I can't tell you Billy's interest, then I'm not doing very good.
That's right.
So you got to create times to talk to them. You got to invite them to your room for lunch. You got to eat with them. Invite them one at a time, invite them all, then invite them in pairs. Like I'm going to invite my center, my right guard, because this week they're going to do everything together. So we're all going to eat lunch together and we're going to just talk. You just create relationship to where you're the coach and they're the player, but there's also a bond that is.
Which doesn't happen without talking.
Correct.
So you're the O-line coach at Ennis, correct? The guy.
Yes.
How do you make your guys feel special?
Well, this is something I stole from Steve. He called it the roach race winner. Roaches were when you pancake a guy and he has a trophy. Well, we're the Ennis Moving Company and we like to move guys against their will. So we have a mover of the week and who got the most knockdowns, who was the MVP, so to speak. And we have a box that we give the guy, and it's just a box with some weights in it or something. And,
But a moving box.
Yeah, we'll take a picture of him, but he's the mover of the week. And I do think it's like Steve said, we're the only group that has 5 guys that have to do their job in order to be successful. If one guy messes up, our offense doesn't go. And I think it's what you preach to those kids, that we are the heartbeat of the offense, regardless of how good your quarterback or running back. And you make it a family and you tell them we can only go as much as our last guy can go. You got to be somewhat of a father figure to them. You got to tell them you love them. You got to put your arm around them when they're down. You got to be a little bit of a psychologist because you do have to make those 5 guys feel a little special all the time.
If you're a head coach and you're not sure who your O-line coach is, it's got to be the right person. It can't be someone who's everything's black and white. If you're not sure who the O-line coach is, you got to coach it. When I went to Germany, there was 4 coaches on offense. And one of them was in pre-med and he quit after the first practice. Well, there was 3 of us. Bottom line is I was going to coach the O-line because you can't mess that up. No offense, but I think your quarterbacks could almost not have a coach. But your O-line, you better coach the heck out of those guys, and it needs to be the right guy. So, Steve, let's do a scenario. And I'm saying this a little bit jokingly because I don't think I was this bad, but let's pretend, okay? We're playing a big game. First drive, we go 3 and out. Josh Anderson doesn't have good eyes. He's looking the wrong way. Dennison sends a blitz and sacks us. And we're coming off the field, and I'm not very happy. And the O-line's going to go sit on the bench, and I walk over there. I go, we better get our head out of our butt and get everything together. What are you saying to your guys after I walk away?
Well, I can't do that again, right?
Right.
So if you ripped them, I can't rip them, or vice versa. So we first drive of the game, 3 and out, bad eyes, not ready to play. So I think it's practice it all week. It should look good, eyes in the dirt. So wake up, understand, like you, again, it's so hard to put into words, but Josh probably had a bad day with his girlfriend, something stupid as that. And as a coach, you're like, that doesn't fly, right? Because it's my job that you pick that guy up. But you don't want to make it about you. You got to get down with Josh, get on a knee, get eye to eye and say, listen, it's okay. Did you think Coach Jackson was going to be happy? No. So what happened? Talk to me. What are we going to do next series? You're going to have your eyes up. You're going to communicate, and we're going to block. I don't know that I would say those exact things, but if you don't get down on their level as a coach and figure it out, instead of, I'm just going to yell because I don't know how to fix it, right? I did that as a young coach. I don't know how to fix it, so I'm just going to yell at them. Now, we can fix it, but to fix that kid's emotional being, you better be able to relate right now.
Make sure you don't forget he's your guy. Make him feel 10 foot tall and bulletproof. If I'm the O-line coach, I'm going to be loyal to my head coach 100%. But when he walks away, I'm going to go, hey, buddy, I'm in the foxhole with you. Let's go. Got
Yeah.
you, man. Let's go. And I chose Denison because they ran a 7-1 or something. So they probably gave us something we weren't ready for. So here's what we used to do at North Forney that I think is really good. At the end of each series, we would meet at the 50 and script the first two plays of the next drive together. And then Stan and Steve would go sit with the big guys and say, all right, guys, play one is fixing to be jail. What do y'all think? But let's look at how they're lined up, who think we're going to have, and then play two is going to be West Outy or zone left. Go through that, y'all. Like, Steve, what would you go do with the O-line when you knew the first two plays?
Oh man, it makes the next drive that much easier. Like, this is the box y'all are getting. You know where they're at. Now we're going to go to work and you know the first two plays. So you guys can be talking about that right now. You don't even need me. Just talk about how you're going to do this play and the next play. You know, there's no surprises now. And another thing that I love that Ludlow would do is he would call down and he would say, hey, go find out what your lineman's favorite run play is now.
Yes, coach.
So you could be in the second quarter. You will be surprised. They'll all say the same thing.
I used to, and you need to get head coaches, try this one time. You'll love it. But at timeout, man, they're all around you. Look at your O-line and go, do y'all want to run power or zone? And where do y'all, should we run behind Josh or Bressy? Things like that. Now, if you have 7 run plays, maybe you can't do it that way. But we had 2. But man, I think that's really powerful. I used to do that in Germany a lot too, is what do y'all want me to call?
Yeah.
And man, they won't let you down, will they?
Yeah. You give them ownership.
Really a big deal. All right, coach. So we're going to get into this secret fast and wide stuff, but let's end this podcast with rapid fire. Favorite run play?
Inside zone.
Favorite pass protection?
700%.
Favorite drill?
Ooh, double team pods.
Double team pods. Favorite O-line book?
A long time ago, it was the O-line coach at Army. He wrote a whole book on technique.
I've got one here, and that's Angus Reid, who wrote a book for his O-line coach in the Canadian Football League called Thank You, Coach. Great book. Best O-line clinic speaker?
He was the O-line coach at Oklahoma State early on in Gundy's career. His name started with a W. I can't remember. He was awesome.
Most underrated O-line coaching point that we should all make more?
Mask under mask.
I used to yell fist to chin 100 times at practice. Fist to chin, man, it was my thing. How many times during practice were you yelling mask under mask?
Probably 10.
That's a good
Should
point.
be more.
You're probably not yelling mask under mask. You should just be yelling mask,
Right.
which is what you're doing.
That's too many words, but yeah.
Exactly. You know, most overrated coaching point. Like, I'm going to go this way. If you're listening to a game on Saturday night college football, what's something you might hear about O-line play that you're like, no, that's really not it? But I know that's probably way too.
I think pushing a 5 or 7 man sled without knowing what you're doing is unproductive because you push it too long, you get way out over the top of yourself and they're up on their toes. That stuff is terrible to me.
Hey, how do you get a kid to keep his face out of pass protection?
Remember, we took our helmets off.
I know.
Stuff off. Coach, that's a tough one.
I used to put like 7 kids in a line, like shoulder to shoulder. Somebody goes in front of them and he doesn't have his helmet on. So this is not full speed at all, but the guys would either just take a little jab or they'd take 2 steps. And if they took 2 steps, you locked them out. But if they just took a jab, don't lunge at him, because pass protection, you cannot lunge and get your head forward or you're dead.
Yeah.
What's one thing every O-line coach should do before camp starts? What's one thing everybody listening to this should do before practice starts?
You got to do something with the kids, with your group, something to start the relationships, whether it be just meeting, like Coach Anderson, we would do things that didn't cost a lot, like grill hot dogs and sit in the weight room.
Yeah.
Something to know you care. The old
Yeah.
thing, they don't care what you
Yep.
know till they know you care.
Now, this costs a little bit, but we did this one time called the Hawg Bowl, and a coach got a trophy, like an FFA trophy with a pig on the top of it. And the O-line and D-line went to the bowling alley, and whoever won got the Hog Bowl trophy. So that was pretty cool. What's one thing? Oh, this is a tough one, Steve. If you need to have Stan answer this one, phone a friend. What's one thing every O-line coach should stop doing immediately?
Dan?
Man,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
That's a tough one, isn't it? Here's one I could go back to. Stop standing behind your O-line.
Yeah.
No doubt. There's no doubt.
I was also going to say stop just hanging out. Like an
Mm.
O-line coach can't hang out.
No.
You got to coach.
If you don't bring juice as an O-line coach, shame on you. They need an O-line coach that's excited and coaching them every play. And bring the juice, man. Last podcast question. And then we'll open this up for questions. And some of them I'll put in the podcast, and some of them we will do a separate one. But so it's August 1st. An offensive line coach is listening to this while painting the practice field. Man, I've done that. If you've ever taken a screwdriver and defined the corners of the practice field or the game field, then you are a real football coach. Give him 3 things he needs to do before his players report soon.
I think you need to make a playbook for yourself. And I'm not talking about offensive plays. I'm talking about drawing inside zone to every box you're going to get, power to every box you're going to get, like 5 major boxes, right? And so you as a coach, again, it goes back to if you don't know why, they're going to see through you. And that's when it gets bad. So I think you better know as much as you can about what you're doing. I think that's the biggest thing going into a camp. If you're changing jobs, if the O-line guy doesn't know, that's scary. There's
That
been
is
so many
beautiful.
times, Coach, I didn't know when I was younger.
Yeah, we take it for granted, but God, that is so beautiful. You got to study it at night. You have to have the answer for everything. My dad coached 41 years and won a state championship in 96. When I became a head coach in 99, he gave me 2 pieces of advice. Do it your way because you're going to get fired one day, and at least do it your way. And then number 2 was make sure your O-line has blocking rules. Make sure your O-line has blocking rules, y'all, you got to do it. You better have some rules. And like Steve said, you better be able to answer them. I can remember one time at Lone Oak, my assistant O-line coach was out there coaching middle school. We were running trap. And he really didn't know what the play side tackle did on trap. And we all know it's near backer. Like that's a rule, near backer. So don't block fronts. Have a rule. Steve, you or Stan, either one, add to that about the importance of having rules, because I don't think we can undersell having blocking rules.
You can't have too many. It's like they have to be Bible. They have to work for most everything. But go ahead, Stan.
We're not a fast and wide offense. We do a little bit of everything. One of the things my head coach emphasized last year after he took over was that our O-line needs to know where to go. We weren't really technical last year. We had a really good O-line, but we weren't really technical. So now that we have a feel for the offense and guys typically know where to go, because last year we would spend a ton of time just on working and fitting up the box, depending on whatever it was, because we had 12 run plays or whatever it was. Now, as we got into that, we didn't run 12 run plays. We narrowed in on what worked. But over the off season and spring ball, and even now in the summer, we're doing a lot more technical stuff. But I just say your guys have to know where to go. If they don't know where to go, all the technique in the world doesn't matter.
Coach, I learned a lot from, he was a mentor. He would spend 10 minutes a day pre-practice walking boxes. And I remember thinking, does this not get old? And Coach, week 9, he would be walking boxes, not just the box you were going to see. He walked every box. Inside
Man,
zone power,
so he's walking through of where everybody's going on run plays.
no
And
surprises.
this just crossed my mind. Here's what I would do before fall camp started. I would send my guys quizzes and have them draw, where are you going? That's a great point. And I remember this as an O-line coach. I wanted to be technical. I wanted my guys to have great footwork. But like Stan just said, if we didn't know who to block, it didn't matter. So we got to know who to block first. So what you could be doing now is sending them quizzes and go through it once a week. But when fall camp starts, if your guys don't know who to block, it's your fault. End of story.
Coach, I'll tell you this. One of the things Coach Drake brought in is this program called Just Play. It's our online playbook, and it has the ability to do quizzes, and you can put a front up there and you can send it out to all your guys and say, tell me what the right tackle does on power right.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what the backside guard does on buck sweep right. And it grades them and it posts the leaderboard. So even the kids know, all the coaches know, but the kids know who knows what, who performed better. The scores are out there. So we'll do that at least twice a week, especially during the season. We'll do post-practice walkthroughs with the head coach. He'll be out there. He'll call a play because he's also our play caller. He'll call a play and we'll walk to the box. And we do a tackle over and we'll walk the box and everybody's got to know where to go.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Even pregame, he'll put a front up there. We have a screen and we have TVs in the locker room, and he'll put a front up there and he'll quiz the entire offense. Hey, we're running power read to the right with RPO off of it, and he'll quiz everybody going down the line. What is everybody doing on this play?
Are they giving you, this is vital to me and my dad, Raymond Jackson, I'm going to go block that backer, or are they giving you a rule?
Sometimes it's a rule, and sometimes it's, I've got 22.
Yeah.
It's double team to, it's quick. You know, they're not going to tell me.
Okay. But you're coaching rules though, right?
Yeah. They're not going to say exactly what they're doing. They're not going to say, I'm taking an inside gap step to his play side number. And then it's just going to be, hey, I'm double teaming, 99 to the backside linebacker.
Okay. Let's do this. Steve, give us rules, give us examples. We're going to go 4 down, inside zone right versus 4 down. We got a 3 technique, play side.
Yeah, our rules will be man, and double.
Yeah. So our right tackle's white block, angle drive.
We would know if you're running out of 3 technique, it's 1 double team. If you're running away from it, it's 2 double team.
Guys,
that's easy.
It's so easy. Here's a rule. If we're running zone right, our left tackle, his rule is backside B. Clear the B. Clear the B. So everyone on our staff, the DB coach knew that our backside tackle on inside zone was clear the B. So white block to me would be a rule. I guess you think that's like play side tackle's got a 5 technique, I'm going to white block. Play side guard's got a 3 technique, I'm going to white block.
Yeah.
Guys, it was awesome. And we're not leaving because right now we're fixing to get into double teams and things like that. But for you guys listening on the Arena podcast, this was an undertaking that I was a little intimidated. How can we have a podcast that's going to help and someone wouldn't even want to listen to just an O-line podcast? But it was amazing, Steve. Thank you, buddy. Stan, thanks for chiming in too.
Fun, thank you.
Man, it was good. Our coaches got better today. Every coach listening to this can take something from this, and either if they're an O-line coach or if they're a head coach, but it was great. So thank you.
Thank you.